you very much, Acting President.
Do we have a quorum?
Yes.
Yes.
We have a quorum.
We have 42.
Any apologies?
We have 12.
We have 12 apologies. We have 12 apologies. Is there any proposal to adopt the agenda? Yes? Honorable.
Maybe before you probably open the mouth, because you may open up another one. So that's it.
Honorable Daka, I'm just being guided that
Just immediately.
they would like, the Secretariat would like to amend the agenda so that item number 6, Chairman's opening remarks, becomes number 5, and item number 5 becomes item number 6 for the sake of accommodating the media. Even before you adopt the agenda, allow me to just open the meeting and then I'll come back to the adoption of the agenda so that we can allow members of the press to go and file their stories. Honorable Deputy Chairman, Honorable Musonda Mpankata, Honorable Secretary General of the party, Honorable Raphael Nakachinda, members of the press, I'm addressing them because this part is really meant for them, but members of the Central Committee, and may I include also those who are watching us through social media as we start this meeting. We have learnt with deep sadness the passing on of a gallant public officer, Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa, who has been struggling with ill health for a number of months and passed on this morning. Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa, as you are aware, served this country diligently as a diplomat, a journalist, a lawmaker, cabinet minister, and Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia. Those who served with him in Parliament will know that he was a very distinguished gentleman, a very distinguished chair of meetings, a very distinguished Speaker of the National Assembly, one who provided a conducive environment in which members of Parliament deliberated without regard to the political divide. Having served myself as a backbencher and a member of the opposition under Musa Mwanamwambwa, I can confess that I learnt a lot from the manner in which he handled parliamentary affairs. In addition to Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa, it is already a common fact, known already by all of us, that another gallant citizen of Zambia, Reverend Archbishop Peter Ndlovu, passed on and was put to rest yesterday. This also reminds us of the passing on of our own members, the district chairman for Livingston, a councillor in Chelenge, Elvis Sakala in Chama, and a friend of civil society, a political commentator in the name of Andrew Ntewewe, who passed on yesterday. With deep grief in our hearts, I would like to invite all of us to be upstanding to observe a moment of silence in honor of the memory of our dear departed. Thank you very much. We may be seated. Fellow members of the Central Committee, we're holding this special Central Committee meeting to attend to various issues designed to strengthen our party and build unity across the structures of the party. A number of you have expressed concern at the ugly development of indiscipline in the party. In many instances, I'm afraid to say, the indiscipline has been perpetrated not only by junior members of the party, but also by senior members of this party. Be assured that this development shall not be allowed to continue. It will have to be arrested, and persons promoting divisions, indiscipline, and activities meant to undermine the party shall not be tolerated. Lest you forget, Zambians are looking forward to this particular political party to save them from the ruthless, oppressive, and directionless government of Hakainde Hichilema and the New Doom. It is therefore incumbent upon us gathered here today to build a strong party that Zambians can look to with hope and enthusiasm that there is a party that can rescue them from the shackles of imperialism, poverty, disease, unemployment, and the high cost of living. When I talk about the directionless government, there are many examples I can cite. And if I asked each one of you to contribute, would have as many examples as we are here. But just to cite a few. Number one, the shocking announcement in Parliament, not on the street, not on a political anthill, but in Parliament, not by a backbencher, but by the Minister of Mines and Minerals Development himself, Honorable Paul Kabuswe, that government made a verbal agreement, a gentleman's agreement to facilitate the return of Vedanta to KCM, for me, is a sign of total lack of leadership. Who could ever dare tell the Zambian people that the sale of such a big asset can even be referred to when there is no agreement in place, when there is no signed agreement in place? And the minister, on behalf of the president, even goes to Parliament and he says, this is just a verbal agreement. However, as some of you have followed, following the announcement by Paul Kabuswe, Anil Agarwal, who has been teasing us and taunting us, you remember what he said about our mine? He bought it for a song, and within a few months, he made millions of dollars in profit. Now, after Paul Kabuswe made that announcement, the same Agarwal announced that he would make available the reclaimed 79.4% shareholding in KCM to show up the books of Vedanta Resources that is laden with debt of over $6 to $9 billion. Out of a verbal agreement, Agarwal is going to claim back 79.4% shareholding in KCM. We must understand that a forensic audit was done that exposed the fact that Vedanta were actually cheating Zambia on taxes and were engaged in mining methods that degraded the assets of the mine and had failed to develop Konkola Deep Mine as agreed at the investment stage. And he also owed Zambia Revenue Authority, ZESCO, NAPSA, etc., etc. Beyond that, Agawa also owed contractors and suppliers. The total debt at the time that the PF government made the decision that it did, the total debt was $1.5 billion. This was the background that in 2018 that necessitated the decisions that were made by us on the matter of KCM. So in actual fact, what Hakainde Hichilema is doing is a crime. It is a crime to give KCM to Vedanta on a beer hall agreement, because that's what it is. Not even a hotel agreement, a beer hall agreement, an agreement ya mkachaso. That is a crime. And we in the Patriotic Front must continue to speak about it as a criminal offense, a crime. You can't sell an asset such as KCM as though you are selling a bag of potatoes or a bag of kandolo on a street, a tin of beans. That's what you sell without a receipt, without an agreement, not a mine. We also understand that Vedanta Resources has demanded that government takes up this liability or causes the write-off of this $1.5 billion. Out of a verbal agreement, Vedanta is now demanding, can you, the Zambian people, pay the $1.5 billion that we owe contractors? However, despite the zeal by Kabuswe to cause this huge loss to the country, we understand that they are patriotic Zambians in government. Even in the UPND government, I want to assure you, there are some people in this government who are saying no to this scandal. So we don't stand alone. And we want to encourage those patriotic Zambians who are saving Hakainde Hichilema to continue to be patriotic and to say no to this kind of crime. And for us in the Patriotic Front, it is our duty, on behalf of the Zambian people, to continue to say no to such criminality. I said there are many examples to cite. This is only one. The second one is another scandalous arrangement, and this one affecting our day-to-day living, our midi meal. Ulutosh. All of us have noted that the Food Reserve Agency so far has only procured 345,000 metric tons of maize. And this was as at 26th of September 2023. As all of us are aware, in the years under the PF government, by September, the Food Reserve Agency would have bought almost 1 million metric tons. Even when the government only budgeted for 500,000, by September, the pressure on government from the farmers would lead the government to encouraging FRA to buy 1 million metric tons of maize by September. And we did that every single year. And yet, this year, by 26th September, FRA had only bought 345,000 metric tons. And this is despite the high prices that are being offered and the cash incentives. Because now FRA is paying farmers spot cash. And high prices, 280 kwacha a bag. We were told when they increased the price that this was to encourage farmers to sell their maize. Besides the high price, and besides the spot cash payment, they have only managed to buy 345,000 metric tons. Does anyone wonder what our food security will be come next year? Especially with a threatened harvest season. With the high cost of fertilizers, with the high cost of fuel, how many farmers will grow as much maize that they were growing before 2021? We were being encouraged that we should eat roller meal, as though roller meal doesn't come from maize. We know, therefore, that there is not enough maize in the country, including national food security, because Zambia consumes about 200,000 metric tons per month for both human and animal consumption. Do your numbers. They only procured 345,000 metric tons, and we consume 200,000 metric tons per month. Several questions have arisen over this issue of mealie meal. One, until recently, ZNS has been selling mealie meal at 150 kwacha per bag. We have noted that the deal with ShopRite retail chain, they are now selling mealie meal at 230 kwacha per bag. We must emphasize that even that 230 kwacha is extremely expensive. Yeah. It is unaffordable by many of our people. In May 2023, at the height of the shortage of mealie meal, government finally halted both maize and mealie meal exports after months of relentless exports. These exports have deleted our national maize grain reserves. However, government gave authority to business people to import duty-free mealie meal from South Africa. Despite protestations from stakeholders, especially that Zambia is a because the Zambia Biosafety Act of 2007 bans the importation of GMO and GMO products, especially those connected to national crops of interest like maize. We have an act in place, a 2007 act, which prohibits the importation of any GMO materials into Zambia, especially food materials. And yet, Hakainde Hichilema has given that act a blind eye, and he allowed people, his friends, to import GMO mealie meal. Government claimed at that time that this import was in transit and destined to the DRC. Of course, it didn't make sense. And if you recall, we addressed this matter and we asked, if we're importing GMO and selling it in the border towns of Zambia, how can you guarantee that Zambians are not consuming it? And isn't it a mark of total bad neighborhood and neighborliness for you to import GMO products and sell them to your neighbors? If it is not good for you, how can it be possibly good for others? And you claim that you are an internationalist? You claim that you belong to the community of countries? There are strong allegations that these imports are being actually rebagged in Zambia. The mealie meal is actually being rebagged here. So the maize that the mealie meal you are seeing written ZNS is not maize that was grown by Zambians. It is imported GMO. And if this allegation is true, then again, this is another crime. Because you are selling a GMO product against the act, and you are selling it to unsuspecting customers. The Consumer Protection Act states very clearly that when you sell any product, you must label the product and disclose what that product contains. to rebag GMO maize, mealie meal, and just sell it on the market without declaring that it is GMO is against the law. And anything done against the law is a crime. What we in the Patriotic Front will do is to demand transparency on this matter. And all of us, let us keep our eyes and ears open so that we can find the truth behind this matter. But also remember, dear colleagues, that the reason why the Patriotic Front government established those milling plants at the Zambia Correctional Services, and ask Honorable Kampiongo, he's here. At ZNS, ask Honorable Chama, he's here. The reason we established those milling plants was to cushion local prices. We did not establish those milling plants for them to be used as conduits through which we are going to export mealie meal. No. The idea was that if there is going to be excess maize on the market, let the private sector export, not the government. Let the government be concerned about National Food Strategic Reserve. When the private sector increases the price of mealie meal, ZNS must then step in. Zambia Correctional Services must step in and put on the market lower prices. Now for them, we've even seen bags, ZNS bags, labeled for export. How can a government be so irresponsible? We bemoan this fact because we in the Patriotic Front, in 2021 August, we left 1.5 million metric tons of maize in reserves. And because of the good agricultural policies that we employed in 2021-2022 farming season, we produced another bumper harvest. And all that maize was sold. And by the way, it was sold even without excise duty. Zambia did not collect not a kwacha from the maize they were exporting. What were we doing? Literally taking from the Zambians and giving to neighbors. Who runs an economy like that? I said there are many examples. I'll just give one more, and the rest I'll leave to you. We know that Wakalema, they like to sell. They are used to selling. We were told, in case Zambians have forgotten, we were told that while all of you Zambians were sleeping during privatization, we who are awake, we made money. Now you take a person who was duping you when you were sleeping and you make him president and you expect your assets to remain intact. Have we not heard the disturbing news that your NAPSA, People's NAPSA, remember NAPSA is a public entity holding on to money of individuals for the sake of securing them in their retirement age. It is not their money, it is public money. Now, any pension scheme invests in viable ventures to make sure that when the money is required, they can make it available. Today, NAPSA is liquidating all its assets. As we speak today, prime buildings and prime plots that belongs to the people of Zambia through NAPSA are up for sale. These include York Farm, which is being sold at 466 million kwacha, $23 million if you wish. Undeveloped land in Nyumbayanga Housing Complex, prime property in Lusaka CBD, beautiful properties along Cairo Road, from which NAPSA was attracting rent to meet their obligations of paying pensioners. Now, while Zambians were sleeping, I was making money. And now, while Zambians are even watching, they are sampling. I wonder what will remain of Zambia with this trajectory. I wonder what will remain of this country by 2026. But also remember, my dear colleagues, that Africa Life Financial Services, a company long associated with President Hakainde Hichilema, was given a $40 million environmental protection fund under the Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development. Hakainde Hichilema's company is the one that is going to manage the $40 million environmental protection fund that is an establishment through an act of parliament. Where was the tender? Who were the bidders? When you were sleeping, I was making money. And now, President, you don't have to sleep. He will make it anyway. I can assure you, my dear brothers and sisters, that President Hakainde Hichilema is back not only to be president, but to finish what he didn't do in the 1990s when he participated in the privatization program of state assets. And that time he was under the watch of government. Now he's on top of the government. We should recognize that this program run by the IMF deindustrialized our country. Our manufacturing industrial base was decimated. And that is what created the rise in unemployment in Zambia. Where is Dunlop? Dunlop was making tires which were being exported around the region. Where is Lenco? Today Lenco is a warehouse. Lenco was making trailers. Where is it? Where is ITT? Where is Sirius? People are going to London and buying jeans from London, and when they look at the label, it's Sirius Zambia. Where is it? The combination of Hakainde Hichilema and the IMF spells doom for this country. And make no mistake, the Zambian people are looking towards you, the Patriotic Front. If you think that this party is just a game party, you are missing the point. The lives of Zambians out there depend on you. And this is the reason why we have kept emphasizing that those who want to play games, those who want to come here and just have picnic, you are in the wrong place. We need serious people. We ought to be serious. You carry yourself with the title chairman of this and secretary of this and chairman of that, and you think that ends the whole business? No. That actually starts the burden that you carry on your shoulders. For the sake of the Zambians out there, there is no other political party in this country which has as big a responsibility as you have. You are the immediate past government. You are the party with the highest number of knowledgeable people, experienced people. Everyone is looking towards us. With all these scandals that you have heard about, the people of Zambia are starting to lose hope. And they are only looking to you as their beacon of hope. I would therefore like all of us colleagues to handle our positions, knowing that these positions are only a privilege and that they are a responsibility to the 18 million Zambians, to this generation and generations to come. We mess it up in the patriotic front, we're messing it up for the Zambian people. Just imagine for a moment what Zambia will be under Hakainde Hichilema by 2026. And just imagine what Zambia would be if Hakainde Hichilema continued until 2031. You're the only ones who can stop him. And stop him we must. And to stop him, we ourselves first must be formidable. We ourselves must treat each other with mutual respect and deal with matters of this party with the highest sense of responsibility and honesty. No use to just be a number. No, we don't want numbers anymore. We want members. And once you are a member, you are committed to the common cause of the others. The idea of kamofya inga chitipaline must end. If it is Reverend Sumaili Chavipa, kamofya ninebo, that mentality has to end. And it has to end with me before we even ask our lower structures. It has to start here. I sit here as a very confident person, extremely confident, because I interact with all of you. And when I speak to a lot of you, the message I get all the time is Zambians, Zambians, Zambians. Let us continue to put the interest of Zambia first, before our personal interests. You have heard how we are being harassed, and there is no other political party, opposition political party, that is being harassed as much as you are being harassed. Why is that? Because the oppressor already knows that if there is any political party that is capable of removing them, it is you. That's why you are targets. That is the reason why you are targets. Now they are targeting even a retired man. Edgar Chagwalungu is not allowed to go for medical treatment. Edgar Chagwalungu can't go to a church. Edgar Lungu can't travel outside the country. On this score, I want to thank all of you, my dear colleagues, for turning up in large numbers to give President Edgar Chagwa Lungu and Madam Esther Lungu support each time that they are being harassed. If we don't protect the former first family, then we should know that all of us become vulnerable. We ought to protect each other. There are a number of us who are facing this charge and that charge. Today you have heard, because we decided one gentleman must become a chairman. That is an offense in itself. Now he's being followed every day. Study Mwale is now being followed. He's being hunted like a wild animal. Isn't he being hunted before? Why now? Davis Mwila is always in and out of court to go and explain about money for the party. Which political party other than us are being pursued for the money that we're using to run our party? I take confidence in knowing that it is darkest before dawn. And this too shall pass. As long as we hold together, 2026 is round the corner. And joy comes in the morning. My dear colleagues, as we deliberate today, I would like to be as businesslike as possible because of the responsibilities that we carry. And I'd like to pledge that I shall make sure that we're timely so that this meeting does not take longer than it should. I promised some members of parliament, as you're well aware, members of parliament should have been in their constituencies to prepare for the commemoration of the 59th independence anniversary. But I obliged them to come to this meeting, and I promised that by 14 hours we should be done so that we give them an opportunity to travel. So I appeal to all of us, colleagues, that we be as businesslike throughout the transaction of today's business. Thank you very much for listening, colleagues.
Thank you, Acting President. As we prepare for the media to leave, just offer a hand of friendship, a hand of peace to whoever is seated next to you, and use the opportunity to stretch, push our knees, and then wind down.
Yes, Madam. Thank you.
Good speech. Good speech. Yeah. Now we propagate. It keeps them busy. So we take over the agenda the whole day as they are waiting for what we